country worse. Today, 1 in every people is infected as the fourth wave rages. The running out of test kits has forced the government to take new measures that are being seen as retrogressive to the fight against the global pandemic. Arthur Davis Skopo, Zambia correspondent, reports from Lusaka.
At the height that the global pandemic is raging further, causing so much torment and suffering, Zambia is running out of critical COVID-19 diagnostic kits. The country, currently with a projected 1 in every 3 people being positive for COVID-19, has now resolved to only testing those people with severe symptoms as opposed to mass testing. Further, the testing has been extended to those in particular settings, like individuals who are at risk of developing severe disease, healthcare, those admitted in healthcare facilities with various ailments, and symptomatic individuals in an institutionalized setting like prisons, boarding schools, and training camps. Health Minister Sylvia Masebo has announced these measures that take course immediately.
Testing everybody is going to be unsustainable. We have therefore considered prioritizing persons with COVID symptoms for testing. This is in order to optimize our resources.
But what are health experts saying over this? Brian Sampa is a medical doctor.
We are not going to win this battle because when you come to think of it, the same people we are trying to prioritize, if we don't test the others who are not prioritized, they will still infect the ones we want to prioritize. Because it's only when we know the disease burden, that's when we can know how to respond. But if we are testing very few individuals and which are selective, we are not going to have a true picture of our disease burden.
Considering that the infection rate is tagged at 1 in every 3 or 4 people is infected with COVID-19, Dr. Sampa, who is president of the Resident Doctors Association of Zambia, is worried that the new announced measures could worsen this. He further cautions Zambians in doing the correct things under this pandemic.
And this is very worrisome because already the government has started prioritizing due to the fact that the burden is too much. Now, the burden is getting worse. Meanwhile, people are also ignoring the guidelines which are being given. If they don't do that, we are still going to reach a situation where more people will be sick and those hospitals are going to be burdened. We are not even going to manage to handle the cases.
The country has resorted to reaching these measures due to inadequate funds to purchase these kits outside, and also where these products are being gotten from. Supply has reduced after COVID-19 hit hard.
There have been supply challenges arising from the pandemic itself.
But how long will countries like Zambia depend on the outside countries to provide such key instruments meant to safeguarding local lives?
For sure. You know, the only lasting solution is not to depend on your neighbor for help. The best is the government to invest in research. We've called on this for a long time, but nothing has been done. We can't always depend on other people to provide even things that we may be able to manage if we just put our minds to it. We've got enough scientists in Zambia. If we can find resources, we can start producing such test kits ourselves. We just need, of course, the patent rights and all that, which the government can always manage to do.
Lewis Mwape, a development expert, says as the world calls for globalization, in this case, deglobalization is key, and is calling for massive industrialization of local opportunities, agreeing with Dr. Sampa on seeking local innovations.
There has been a campaign for globalization, but I think we are also going to we need to also look at deglobalization, where each respective state needs to look at what is it that it can produce locally and satisfy the local market and the demand for survival for the local people. So issue of industrialization needs to be focused on.
Mr. Mwape is concerned that the economy of the country is at risk and more interventions are needed.
So I think the investment in the local industry support the marketeers so that our economic activities might remain functional.
Currently, over 25,000 are active cases nationwide, with over 100 on oxygen therapy, and the proportion of the unvaccinated patients among the admissions remains high at 87%. The 18 million populated nation has about 1.6 million people so far vaccinated. Reporting for the SABC's Channel Africa in Lusaka, Zambia, I am Arthur Davies, Scopo.
It's time now for our news headlines with Nosihle Zuma.
SABC News, independent and impartial.
From an African perspective.
Zimbabwe's president sacks his state security minister, a political analyst from South Africa's University of Johannesburg. As ECOWAS imposed sanctions on Mali will be more detrimental to the population, and the United Nations launches an appeal for $5 billion for Afghanistan.